We've built quite a foundation of knowledge about persuasion in these videos on persuasion in your life. We have said it's all around us and part of our communication every day. We've talked about ethical persuasion, theories, arguments, visual persuasion, the use of the internet and social media, advertising and public relations, persuasion in relationships, nonverbal persuasion, and persuasion in business and professional contexts. Today, we're going to talk about persuasive presentations. You will make persuasive presentations. It might be to a single person, or a small group, or a large group. We have said that persuasion is part of work life and a part of personal relationships. You will create and share communication messages with others with the intent and motive of convincing them of your position. If you're not sharing persuasive messages, you are part of the percentage of people who let life push and pull them in any direction. You will be letting life happen to you instead of leading a life on purpose. I want to discuss what you do before your presentation, how to organize a presentation, and ways to de-anchor people from long-held positions. Before you start a persuasive presentation, any presentation, to a single person or a group, you need to do these three things. You need to understand their position and their needs. You need to decide what kind of information will appeal to them. And you need to decide what emotional appeal might be the most influential with them. In other words, you focus what you say on that particular audience. For example, if you're going to ask for a raise, you need to understand the financial position the company is currently in, what the goals for the next year are, if the boss or your company is scared of losing you, if they're proud of you, or if they are feeling just the opposite. With this information, you can present your argument for a raise based on the fact that the company has come off of a record-setting year of profits. They have higher goals for the next year, and they don't want to lose valuable employees that have contributed to their success, like you. And they recently recognized you as a team leader in your department. You can sell them on the idea of you continuing to help them have another record year, and the raise will motivate you even more to help them to reach these new goals. What I'm trying to say is that a persuasive presentation is so much more than, I have an idea that I think you should have also, and here are 3 reasons I think you ought to be persuaded. Or in other words, I want to persuade you, but I don't want to think about you or your needs. So what is the basis for a persuasive presentation? It all starts because you have an idea or a thought that the other person or the group doesn't currently have or has not even thought of yet. But the question is, how do you organize your presentation so you are effective and successful? Let me share 4 different ways you might structure your persuasive presentation, and say that this is certainly not a list of all the possible ways to organize your presentation. First, you can organize your information using a deductive approach, commonly referred to as a syllogism. You will present your information from the general or broad premise to reach a logical and specific conclusion. To illustrate, you might be presenting the following. Increasing our use of technology saves man-hours. Saving man-hours increases profits. Therefore, using technology can increase our profits. With each of these points, you present supporting material that increases the credibility of your message and conclusions. Second, you can organize your information using an inductive approach. This approach argues from specific conclusions and evidence that builds multiple layers of specific data that leads the audience to a logical and natural general conclusion. For instance, the presentation might be, this year our training program for Region 1 has increased sales by 10% for the company. Therefore, if we spend the money to expand our training program to the entire company, we should be able to increase the company profits by 25%. Remember that if the audience is going to reach the general conclusion, you will need solid evidence that leaves no doubt about the conclusion. Third, you can organize your information using the carrot-stick approach. When you use this method, you will give both sides of the issue, but you will clearly show that one viewpoint outweighs the other. You do this by making sure you provide clear evidence and data to support your conclusions. Fourth, you can organize your information using the problem-solution approach. The problem-solution method can be used to argue for a change in the status quo. This approach is also used many times in TV commercials, if you watch closely. You must first clearly establish, with evidence and data, that the current status or position is a problem that demands a change. If your information is convincing, then the solution will be a logical way to deal with the issue. The solution must be presented in a way that demonstrates a clear and viable solution to the problem. While these four ways provide a way to organize your flow of information, you also need to consider another important goal that must be reached in the overall presentation. You will need to work on de-anchoring your audience's connection to their current conviction. Sometimes people are not overly connected to their position, and your job is easy. But often people are committed to their beliefs. Their current viewpoint is anchored securely in their values, attitudes, or position. What this means is that within the presentation, you must purposefully use your language, word choices, and information presented to unlink or de-anchor the audience's commitment to their current belief. Let me quickly share 4 de-anchoring tools. First, you can do this with the use of cognitive dissonance. Often, all of us hold viewpoints that don't actually make sense when you look at them closely. If you can create a dissonance or an uncomfortable feeling in your audience by pointing out how 2 ideas held by the audience are actually not compatible, you can gently create a leverage point of persuasion. Second, you can de-anchor ideas by appealing to emotions like fear, anger, joy, sadness, or jealousy. We like to think that we all make rational decisions, but often we all have the meeting of an emotional need at the heart of decisions, and then we back up those decisions with our rational considerations. A third de-anchoring tool is to help people to see the new idea. In other words, you need to help people to visualize what it would be like if the solution or the change you are proposing were a reality. Paint a picture and put them in that reality. A fourth de-anchoring method is to focus on how this decision will be viewed by others. Many people, when making a decision, are secretly thinking about what other people will think of their decision. Since this is true, then address this and suggest how people will view them as perceptive and wise for making this choice. All of these ideas and many more help people get off dead center or help them to de-anchor. If you can get them to this point, the rest is downhill. In this video, I have presented just a small group of ideas that will help you turn your past ineffective and poorly constructed persuasive presentations into powerful and profitable proposals. Today, I have said you need to start by considering your audience and their needs. I then shared 4 ways that you can organize your thoughts and ideas for your presentations. And last, I gave you some tools that you can use to de-anchor people from their long-held beliefs. You will make persuasive presentations. It might be to a single person or a small group or a large group. In this series of videos on persuasion in your life, we have said that persuasion is a part of work life and it's a part of personal relationships. We have said you will create and share communication messages with others with the intent and motive of convincing them of your position. Step up now and hear this final message. If you are not sharing persuasive messages, you are part of the percentage of people who let life push and pull them in any direction. Instead, lead your life on purpose. Be proud and profitable. And remember, I'm always here, and I hope to see you in the next video, whatever that video will be.